but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
Hey, started out riding, man with the geezers, when this shit didn't work, talk to pop about the chick. All of them talks, my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways they.
Happy Wednesday, y'all. It is Wednesday. You know what? Let me start using these things more often, because when we're trying to catch a vibe, we need a little bit of noise. So happy Wednesday. Let's throw in some applause. Applause for all of you out there who are doing what it takes, grinding every day, hustling to make things shake. It's a lot going on in the world. We won't cover it all, but we are going to talk about a little bit of what's important in the world of podcasting and AI and pop culture. But before we dive in, if you don't know, I am Danny Marie, your podcast bestie. I help businesses and creators use podcasting as a marketing tool so they can build trust with their audience and turn listeners into customers through clear content strategies, systems, and training. And by the way, if you are a business or advertiser, I help you get in front of the right audience so you can increase your sales and brand awareness through podcast promo, creator partnerships, and live activations. We just came back. It's been about 2.5 weeks already since we attended the Black Effect Podcast Festival. It was myself along with about 7 other podcasters, and we were activating in Atlanta. Shout out to everyone at Terminus who allowed for us to come pop in and build relationship and learn about the development that's happening in the downtown Atlanta area, largely in part due to Terminus, who's buying up the area and investing back in their community. So that's what we mean when we say we activate and we collaborate. By the way, we're also doing a workshop this Saturday. So last Saturday, we recapped everything that took place at the Black Effect Podcast Festival, everything from activating on site and everything from activating off site. Now, this upcoming week, we're talking about 8 ways to monetize your podcast. There's only one way for you to join. You must register www.podcastpeeps.com/events. All right. And if you don't know, I am your podcast bestie, Danny Marie. And every day we try to be live Monday through Friday to bring to you pop culture, AI, and podcasting related news. So what's on the docket today? As you see from the title, we're talking about creative control and how media personalities and podcasters are winning again. What does that mean? Well, data and trends show personality-led podcasts are on the rise. Commentary shows are also up and coming, perspective-driven content. They're all outperforming highly structured interview formats. People want interpretation, they want perspective, and they want great energy, not just information. So how can you edutain, provide education and entertainment in one? Through personality-led podcasts, commentary shows, and perspective-driven content, perhaps. Podcasting is easily becoming more show-like, so you're doing a full production. More creators are building recurring segments. So, for instance, when I first started with my mother and daughter duo podcast, we had a mommy moment, we had a mother may I segment, and we had an outfit of the day. And for you, it might be something completely different. What kind of segments are you baking into your podcast that you can repurpose? Even if it's standalone content, you can splice it up and make it something that you do standalone. So for instance, a very popular platform, The Breakfast Club with DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, Jess Hilarious, and Lauren LaRosa, they do something very interesting where you have Jess with the mess, you have Lauren LaRosa segments, you have the donkey of the day. So all of those things are a part of the long form content, but if you break them up, they can also perform well on their own. So that's what they mean by recurring segments. Do you have recurring segments in your show? Something that adds texture and layers and engagement for your audience? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. By the way, if you're watching live, comment the word live. And if you're watching the replay, comment the word replay. We also are noticing an uptick in recurring cast dynamics, media personalities, audience inside jokes, and universes. The audience doesn't just follow topics anymore, they follow characters and energy. Have you ever met someone who they kind of like, they're into sports, but they don't necessarily follow any specific team. They just follow the players, like the LeBron James of the world, the Steph Currys, the Kobe's. So they're just more interested in the person and not the team that they're on. Same thing. People are falling more in love with the creator, the influencer, not necessarily the platform. Another great example for all of you in the podcasting world, I have met so many people as of recently who say, I never cared that much for the Joe Budden podcast, but since Mona, aka Don't Call Me White Girl, is now on the Joe Budden podcast, I follow Mona. I care more about Mona. Yes, sir. I'm doing my content. Same thing here. People are falling more in love with the characters and the energy that they bring, as opposed to falling so much in love with, for instance, if you have a podcast and you invite guests, there's 9 times out of 10 that people care more about you and not so much about the guests that you invite on the platform. And so you're starting to see where people are taking a vested interest in the people. And that's a really great place and position to be in. Yesterday, we used the vocabulary word positioning. Positioning is knowing who you are, what you deliver, and who you serve. In the same way, when you are positioning yourself and packaging yourself, people are falling more in love with the person than the platform. That means no matter what platform you're on, people will follow you. No matter if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, no matter if you're on a podcast, people are going to follow you wherever you are. No matter what you're promoting or marketing at the time, people are likely to buy and support because they care about you. So that's what we mean when we say, again, podcasting is becoming more show-like, and also people are falling more in love with the person than the podcast, the character and the energy that that person brings. What's moving in the top 1%, this meaning the top 1% of the podcast, current winning patterns, fast reactions. So are you engaging with your audience, and are you doing it quickly where they feel like they're getting real raw reactions from you? Do you have a strong personality? Does it make you memorable? Something that you, like for me, I'm branded with my merch in every video. Some people have really wacky hairstyles. Some people have really cool things that they say, like a tagline. That's all a part of personal branding and creating a persona and a strong personality that people actually care for. They'll start to emulate. They'll start to use some of your language, some of your slang. When B. Simone came out, I know people feel very differently about her now, but when she first came out, everybody was like, baby girl, girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, that's what we heard from everybody. She started that. That was a whole wave that she influenced because she had such a strong personality. Niche authority. Sometimes speaking about everything that everybody else is talking about gives people the ick. People are fatigued of hearing the same talking points. What is it that you offer that's different? That is your niche. How do you talk about your area of expertise and package it in such a way that you are building a very niche audience and a very niche market? Culturally aware commentary. So having your fingers on the pulse of what's going on. I like to say everything should be done in moderation. So it's great to know and have your finger on the pulse, but it shouldn't be so much that you completely do away with your niche, the things that you're good at. So you should not let the ways of the world overtake you. It's great to know and share things about what you're learning as you're learning them. But it should not mean that you become unrecognizable to your loyal audience. Like, they should still be able to trust and rely on you for that one thing that you deliver because you've built this niche audience. So having a balance between culturally aware commentary, niche authority, strong personality, fast reaction time, and a daily cadence. Again, your swag, your personality, your tone, your style, your energy, it all gives off something. Is it enough to hold people's attention? Top shows are acting less like podcasts and more like ongoing media channels. So that's what we're talking about today. Some pop culture and media talking points. These are the real conversations. Who controls influence now? Because podcast hosting and streamers are interviewing celebrities, breaking news, shaping narratives, influencing politics, impacting music rollouts, and driving public opinion. The bigger cultural shift here, we're watching creators become media companies, and media companies are trying to become creators. So you're noticing a shift. You, within your own power, within your pinky finger, within your baby toe, you now have the power to be a media company. Just you and maybe your AI agents, or just you and maybe a small team of people can build out a mega media company now that you have access to tools like AI that make creating a media brand easy and a quick ROI, right? Something you can jump into now and then start to see results later. And very quickly with the speed that AI is evolving. So you have, and I talked again about this yesterday, you have an upper hand since people are more interested in falling in love with a personality. And since you have access to tools like any other corporation, you can do the same things that these corporate offices are doing. And so you can become a media company. One name that comes to mind, the Jasmine brand. She started very early on. It was her and I think a counterpart of hers, but they started the Jasmine brand. And now it's a cultural phenomenon, like getting news between Jasmine brand and TMZ and all of these other outlets that keep you abreast of all of the celebrity news, pop culture news. They've created their own lane. You can do the same thing. Whatever is important to you, you can package it in such a way that you're reaching your target audience, whether that's delivering to people news in real time as it happens, or whether that's, it could be anything: wellness, business, finance, personal development. Something that you do is going to take off, and it's going to create different streams of revenue for you if you continue to show up and be consistent and you learn the power that you have as an influencer, as a creator, and then if you leverage tools like AI. Video-led podcasting continues to dominate. Platforms are continuing to prioritize vertical clips, YouTube-first podcasts, live stream formats, reaction-style content. Creators are also using short clips, fast commentary, recurring segments, and they're all outperforming static uploads. Personality-led podcasts continue rising, as we mentioned before. In the world of AI search is quietly changing discovery. What does that mean? AI-powered search tools are beginning to change how audiences find podcasts, creators, products, experts, meaning your titles, your descriptions, your authority, your positioning matter more than ever. Let me ask you guys this. when you are filling out an application or you are signing your name on a new lease or you're filling out some kind of form at the doctor's office, do you keep it relatively the same, or are you like me? And sometimes you fill out your full name, sometimes you omit your middle name and it's just your first and last name. Sometimes you put your first initial of your first name and then you write out your full last name. It's always different. So it's so inconsistent, meaning it's hard to, because you're not consistent in the way you write your name. You have all of these different, even if you look on like your credit history, you have an account with Danielle Perkins, you have an account with Danielle M. Perkins, you have an account with Danielle Marie Perkins. It's always different and inconsistent. I thought about that yesterday, and it made me think about podcasters in particular. In the same way that when I try to search for your podcast, sometimes you have your business name and not the podcast. Sometimes you shorthand the podcast title on social media. And so you're just all over the place and we don't know how to find you. That's what I mean when I think about positioning and authority. There's not a cohesive brand. There's not cohesiveness to your positioning. There's no way that we can find you because you're just kind of all over the place. So all of your digital assets are out there in the world, but it's hard to track and find you because you haven't left breadcrumbs that are consistent, that make it easy to track and follow. Think about that when you're finding or creating a new profile on a new platform. Are you using the business name? Are you using the podcast name? Are you using your surname? Are you using your maiden? Well, that's your maiden. Surname and maiden is synonymous. But you have all of these different ways of trying to find your podcast, and it makes it difficult when people try to go back and find you. I know somebody that I had as a client, and they literally had 3 different names for their podcast. On YouTube, it was something totally different than it was on social media, and it was completely different on podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple. But you want people to find you. People are going to give it the one shot to try to research. And if it's not easy to find you, you've potentially lost someone's interest just because there's no uniformity in how you present yourself. There's no positioning. You don't know how to attract or appeal to your audience. It's something I constantly work on, and I work at this every day. I can only imagine for some of you guys where this isn't top of mind for you and you're just trying to get through the thing, trying to quickly fill out the paperwork, trying to quickly put the platform together, and it's just all discombobulated. So that was another thing I thought about when I think about positioning that I wanted to bring to this conversation. But let's go back to the world of AI. Smaller teams are scaling faster, meaning creators and startups are openly discussing how AI tools now allow solo creators, tiny production teams, independent media brands to operate at speed that once required full companies. So you no longer have to hire freelancers or full-time or part-time employees or whatever the case. Now with AI, you can use tools like Marblism and get about 6 AI agents for like $40. By the way, if you want that code, let me know. I'll send it to you so you can get a discount. But I use Marblism. You get yourself a legal assistant, a receptionist, a social media manager. And it's so funny because I'm in all of these Facebook groups and I'm looking at people saying, I am willing to hire somebody who can do my social media. Now, that's just one piece of operating a business. And normal people who charge for that service, you're looking at about $12.50 a month for social media management. When you have so many other things that you have to put your money towards, how much can you save if you just knew that there are AI agents that you can actually hire out there and stop doing all of the heavy lifting and doing the work yourself, but you delegate these tasks to your AI agents? using tools like Marbleism. People perish for a lack of knowledge, not doing their own research, not doing their due diligence, having their head down to the ground, trying to have so much control over what they do, not looking up to see how much things are changing. And with the help of AI, how much you can alleviate and take off your own plate if you just use some of these tools that are out there more, right? I'm talking a lot about the vocabulary word that we had yesterday, which was the word positioning. But today, the vocabulary word is authority. The trust and credibility people associate with your voice, your expertise, or your platform. The simple version is when people believe you know what you're talking about. I get so many messages from strangers that are like, I don't know what you do, but you apparently do something very well because you keep popping up all over my screen. Or sometimes I get tagged in posts. People are saying, who knows anything about podcasting? And multiple people will tag me because I've been at this for a very long time, consistently talking about podcasting. And so I am now considered to be an expert in this space. People trust me because they see that I've been diligent, consistent, and I know my stuff, right? And you too can have the same authority when you show up consistently and you build that rapport. Yes, son. I want fruit. I gave you your breakfast, but you didn't want to eat. Say hello. You don't want to say hello? All right. He's off of school on Wednesday, so sometimes, you got kids who's coming in and messing up the whole flow, but that's okay. Remember, if nothing else, the vocabulary word for today is authority. The trust and credibility people associate with your voice, your expertise, your platform. The simple version is when people believe you know what you're talking about. Then you have their trust, and you are considered to be an authority in your respective field. Let me take a water break. By the way, these cups are available in our store. I think right now you will see an exclusive drop on the website, plantapodcast.com. An exclusive drop from our Atlanta trip. Have you guys used a tool called Hey Jen? So it's you can make yourself a double. You can create an avatar that looks just like you and has your voice. You just program your Hey Jen account. It will take a few pictures of you, how you have to do your different profiles, I think, and it'll take different pictures of you, and then it'll give you a few sentences that you have to repeat so that it programs your voice. And now we have an influx of voice cloning, AI cleanup tools, and automated editing, and AI-assisted production workflows are becoming normalized across media production. So not only can you create these media platforms with the help of AI, but you can create production and at a high level with the help of AI. Workflows that make the process easier, that streamline your process. So Hey Jen is one of them. Notebook LM is another one. Opus Clips is another one. Cast Magic. There are so many tools that help streamline your process. And literally you can Google and there's something out there for everybody, no matter what the need is. There's an AI tool out there to help you. I bet if you type something weird and off the wall, there's an AI for it at this point. And another thing we talked about yesterday is how many people who are so scared of AI that they refuse to do anything with AI. Meanwhile, they're missing out on big opportunities. And meanwhile, there's a gap of people who are now going to be even more marginalized because they did not adopt any AI skill sets. So, everything should be done in moderation, right? So don't let anything distract or deter you. Understand the tools, use it as a tool so you can get where you need to go in life. What's moving in the top 1%? We talked about that. What audiences are rewarding? They reward consistency, they reward speed, they reward perspective, relatability, and strong identity. Are you any of those things? And by the way, we're now in a time where even podcasting bi-weekly or every week isn't enough, because now you have an oversaturated market and people are producing at a greater speed. Yesterday, I talked about, I think it's Amazon, who's committed to posting 120 plus episodes a month. You guys have to compete with that. Yes, you should be niche and you should only think about your target audience and keep them in mind. But if you're not competing and staying on top of mind for people, they're going to easily go somewhere else to fill that void, to fill that dead space, to fill that dead air. When they're cooking, they want to listen to something. If you're not there for them, then they're going to bypass you and look for somebody else who fills that void. If you don't know, we are live. I'm right now in the flesh. It's 12:57 Pacific Standard Time. If you're watching this, comment the word live. If you are catching the replay, comment the word replay. We're talking about AI, podcasting, and industry-related news. And the topic of the day is the rise of creator-led media ecosystems. The vocabulary word of the day was authority. The trust and credibility people associate with your voice, your expertise, or your platform. Are you an authority in your space? And it's not enough for you to say, yes, I'm an authority in my space. People have to associate you with an expert, an authority figure. People have to give that phrase to you. They have to give you that title. It's not that you can take on the title yourself. I mean, sure you can, but it doesn't really do any good if you don't have any followers to back it up. So I have not, like literally people have said, Danny is the Oprah of podcasting. Danny is the first lady of podcasting. I don't believe that. I know that there were other pioneers that are out there. I know that there are other people who have paved the way of podcasting. There's so much information out there about podcasting. I don't know. But because I've shown up consistently, because I provide a lot of information and education, because I can back it up, because I'm so passionate, because people see the speed, my perspective, I'm relatable, I have built a strong identity in this space, they have coined me as the Oprah of podcasting, which I appreciate, and gracefully just say thank you for all of the well wishes and support that I get from people. And I know, like I said, there's so much more for me to do and so much things that I haven't yet mastered. But I'm grateful that people are starting to see me as an authority figure. But it comes with my own due diligence. It comes with, no matter what, I'm still trying to show up and be consistent. No matter if my kids are screaming in the background, I'm still trying to commit to the time that I said I'm going to commit to. No matter what, even if you don't see me on one platform, I'm still somewhere else on another platform, still backing it up and talking the talk and walking the walk. So I appreciate the people that recognize me as an authority figure in podcasting. We're just now getting started. We've barely scratched the surface, but I'm happy that with my 4+ years in podcasting, I'm already making great strides. But sometimes I go to some people's pages who have a podcast and I would not know that they have a podcast because they don't leave any breadcrumbs. They don't shout from the rooftops. It's not in their packaging. It's not in their branding. There's no evidence of them being a podcaster. So why would people go listen to your podcast if you don't even believe that much in what you do? Something I really wanted to get into was this viral topic about the top 35 most powerful names in hip hop. So Complex Music dropped this, I think, yesterday. And then DJ Academics, he's been kind of going crazy in recent interviews, elaborating on this topic. He's a controversial person for many different reasons, but it seems like he's just been going on and on and on. He's coming for Joe Budden. He's coming from Ebro. He's just saying a whole bunch of nothing. But I did think that this list was interesting, and I want to share it with you. I actually agree with a lot of the names that were on this list. Like, these are people that I follow, and I've watched their journey, you know, with someone having their fingers on the pulse. I respect the names that are on this list, with the exception of Academics. But, you know, people like Academics, so I can't be a hater. Okay, number 35. Rob Markman. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Last year's ranking. So he's been featured on Genius, Just My Thoughts, The Best Interview Ever. He's known for top-notch interview skills, integrity as a pundit. Followers, 91.6 on IG. I don't know what that means, so I'm not even going to try to reference those names. Fans might know Rob Markman for his work with Genius, where he serves as a VP of music and content and has done interviews with figures like Future, Lil Durk, and JID. But the media veteran has done an excellent job building on his own platform. Just My Thoughts is where he regularly stirs the pot, whether it's breaking down Aiden Ross and his role in hip hop, or doing a historical deep dive into Jay-Z versus Mace, or responding to Drake. What's one thing you love about rap right now? I love watching this new crop of artists forge their own paths. Artists like Ben Riley. I don't know these new names. I do not know these new artists. Those are just a few names, but it's fun and inspiring to watch them create and lead hip hop in the future. All right. Number 34 on the list, Dante. Matter of fact, let me see if I can share some of this with you guys. And some of these are hip hop. The reason why I'm sharing this is because these are media influencers. And as people who podcast, you should know these media influencers, whether they're your cup of tea or it's not your thing or not, you should still know who some of these people are. So even though I don't know them, I think it's important to talk about the fact that media recognizes them as the top 35 media influencers. And so, of course, you should still be true and authentic to yourself, but it's also great that you know and educate and try to emulate some of the things that are working for some of these media influencers that are already getting noticed and have notoriety. All right, so this is who I'm talking about right now. Dante. In a world of clickbait, what does this word mean? Nihilism. There's something wholesome about I Am Dante's reaction videos. Now 33, he's grown into young OG status, giving fans the verdict on every major album drop, from Yeat's double album to J. Cole, The Fall Off. His animated delivery and productivity speak for themselves. I'm not going to go through every name list by list. Elliot, 32. You know what? Another thing I want to talk about, and this might be a whole nother conversation for another day, but what I'm kind of getting tired of is all of these young people who don't respect the legends, the people that open the door. But also, I do understand that if the legends have been gatekeeping, or again, they're not top of mind because they're not still actively in the thick of things, they don't have their fingers on the pulse or on the culture, then I understand why the young audience doesn't give reference and pay homage to some of the OGs. So this is this dichotomy between new outlook, fresh energy, and then the veterans and the gatekeepers. And there's a responsibility there's a responsibility for those who hold the culture and gatekeep the culture to pass it back. It's not enough for you to just gatekeep, right? Because you're stopping everyone's growth. When you're not sharing the stories and passing down from generation to generation, then our history gets lost. And that's with music, that's with podcasting. And so we are supposed to gatekeep and hold some things close to our chest, but you should also go find somebody, a young bull, a protege, somebody that you can pour into that will carry the legacy forward. Another vocabulary word that we need to add to our list is Sankofa. It's kind of all over the place, but Sankofa, I learned this in college. Sankofa is a word in the Akan language of Ghana meaning to retrieve, literally go back and get, to fetch, to seek, and to take. This is what it means to me for our OGs to go back, fetch, and go get the protege and train up the protege so that they can continue the legacy. Because there is a huge gap between the haves and the have-nots, the people who know and who are trying to get to the status of knowing. There's a break in communication. And all of these young people are discrediting all of the OGs and what they put up. But then all of the OGs are gatekeeping and they're not going back to share the information. They're not putting it in the book. They're not putting it on the podcast. They're not doing an interview. They're not doing a documentary. They're not sharing the information, sharing the knowledge. And so out of sight, out of mind, all of that history gets lost. And so I say all of that to say, I love seeing Elliot on the list, but 32 on the list, I don't know. You got all of these young talents that are coming in, I guess, and taking over. But 32 for Elliot is kind of bananas, kind of nuts, in my opinion. Because he's one of the forefathers. Last year, he ranked 17. Now he's 30? What did I just say? 32. So what does that mean? We have newer talent that's coming in. Is that an oversaturated market? Is that more young people appealing to a younger audience? I don't know. You guys let me know. After heart surgery and fathering twins, Elliot has been quiet in 2026. But in the months before, when he did speak up, the rap world paid attention. Last August, he interviewed No ID ahead of his latest album, God Does Like Ugly. That December, he conducted a clips interview for the Grammy Museum. And even though his Bigger Picture podcast came to an end, he kept the Up Rocks editorial ship afloat as one of its few remaining contributors, dropping lists like Best Nas Features of 2025. The rap world would be better for it when he's fully back. I agree. All right, we're still in the 30s. Let's try to get down here a little bit further. Okay, Kid Mero, we love him. I hadn't seen him for a while. Loved, him with Jesus and Merlot. Hated that they kind of fell apart, but he already spoke his truth. Basically, they had a difference of opinions where somebody wanted more money. Somebody was like, let's just take what we can get. And they basically went their separate ways. But now he's on a fast track trajectory to success. He is now taking over Hot 97, where Ebro used to sit. He's on the podcast. I think he still features. Maybe they got rid of him altogether because now he's with Hot 97. But he was on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, Carmelo Anthony's platform. And they used to kind of switch and rotate in and out with Kid Mero. Featured on Hot 97, Mornings with Murrow, some of the funniest, most biting takes on everything right and wrong about rap culture. If you went back 10 years and told Bodega Boys era of the Kid Murrow what his future held, he probably laughed. Every morning, he's writing in from New Jersey to host the Hot 97 morning show, an unmistakable voice in rap culture. And in New York City life, he sounds off hilariously on the Knicks, academics, and other things he deems corny. We all agree. Academics is a cornball. Anyways, I'm not going to go through the whole list. Joe Budden, Jim Jones. Now that's kind of nuts. But I will say, since Jim Jones had that podcast, Let's Rap About It, now people are looking at Jim Jones in a different light. If you can't beat him, then join him. After going back and forth with rapper turned commentators like Cameron and 50 Cent, Jim Jones finally entered the video podcast arena. This year, he co-launched Let's Rap About It alongside New York vets Fabulous, Mano, and Dave East. Despite some issues, the show has already become one of the funnier rapper-hosted podcasts, known for its playful banter and sometimes flaccid jokes. So I guess they're all status now. Nori, he was at the Black Effect Podcast Festival. Like I said, Joe Budden, Charlamagne the God, Shannon Sharp, Lauren LaRosa, Ebro, they all made the list, but it's important for us to know who these people are. Did you guys agree with the list? Yes or no? Do you think it's kind of lopsided, between the OGs and the newcomers? Do you think it needs more diversity between more people of color around the spectrum? Do you think it needs more diversity with more women? I'm curious to know your thoughts. But as we come to a close, you guys, I'm wrapping it up. I do want to remind you that we do have 8 ways to monetize your podcast this Saturday, 7 a.m. PST. So not next Saturday, it's this Saturday, 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I bet you guys know about 80% of the things I'm going to talk about. But my question is, with all that you know, how come you haven't gotten started? It's probably because you need somebody to walk through the steps with you, hold your hand, and make sure you are accountable and you do the things that you say you're going to do, with setting everything up so that you can start the monetization right away. And so that's why I encourage you to not just join me, but to also join the VIP. So for the VIP, you do need to visit the website, www.podcastpeeps.com. Let me stop this banner right now so you can feast your eyes on this website, podcastpeeps.com/events. The VIP access, it is flexible payment schedule or flexible payment options, not scheduling, meaning that you can pay what you can afford, but pay something, invest in yourself, right? Because I'm not going to be doing this for free all of the time. And when I do help people, it actually helps out a lot. And I'm willing to help you on Saturday, taking some of my time away from what I'm doing with my kids to make sure that you guys are set up for success. So spend your Mother's Day weekend putting together things that you can monetize from. I'm going to give you 8 different ways, but with the VIP, you get to ask your questions, get the personal help, and walk away with at least one thing that you can start monetizing that day. So podcastpeeps.com/events. With that, let's just do another round of applause because we told you all things AI, all things pop culture. And then we're ending it off with how to get some money from all of it at the end of the day. So a lot of us are doing these podcast things and not earning any income from it. You need to stop doing that. It's time out for just doing things for free. A lot of us have paid our dues. It's time for you to start monetizing from all of the work that you put into it. So go back and watch the full video where we talked about everything that's new happening in the world of AI and podcasting today. But I'm going to wrap up with these final thoughts. Let me just remove this current flyer And I think it's real time for me to go because this little baby is just circling the block, circling my chair. Well, so I don't know what's happening right now. All right. We gave you a lot. Go back and watch the replay for those of you watching on Instagram, Substack, Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. But let's get into the major talking point of the day. If I didn't already, let's just make sure we bring it home. Let's tie it all back together. Princeton, you have something you want to say to the people? What do you want?
I need to pee.
Go potty. All right. All right. All right. I think I got it up, y'all. I think I got my final thoughts up. Okay, why are podcasters, creators, and media people and tech folks and culture, what are they talking about today? No, this is not what I wanted to say, y'all. Forgive me. Going back to the title. And by the way, again, the construction is still happening next door. So forgive us if you can hear the background noise, but you already heard my child. So, okay, here we go. No, this is not it. I'm talking about here we go, and this still ain't it. Why every time you can be perfectly set up and then for whatever reason, just one small mistake can just kind of throw you off. You have to be willing to roll with the punches. But like I say, every day I kind of have an email sent to me with all of this news. And then I try to think about, what does this mean? What do I want to talk to the people about to bring all of these talking points together to create one cohesive thread? So my bad. Okay. I think we got it. I think we're here. Okay. We are watching a major shift happen in real time. Creators are no longer just influencers. They're not just podcasters. They're not just streamers or YouTubers. They're becoming full-blown media companies. A creator-led media ecosystem is when one person builds an entire world around their voice and their platform. Not just a podcast, but clips, live streams, newsletters, communities, events, memberships, merch, courses, partnerships, and recurring shows, all connected together. Again, come back on Saturday. We're going to talk a lot about some of these things I just mentioned. This is how you build your content ecosystem. This is how you build multiple streams of revenue. This is how you build your media brand. And honestly, this is why podcasting matters so much right now, because the podcast becomes the hub, it becomes the engine, it becomes the long form trust builder. Everything else branches from your podcast. If you don't believe me, look at how many people are entering into the podcast space and look at how many things are afforded to these people because they're podcasters now. They are, some people, not all, but they become a trusted voice. Now they're making charts like the top 35 media personalities in hip hop culture. Now they're getting brand deals. Now they are popping up and doing more speaker related events. Now they're coming up with other ways for them to sell products, right? So this is why people are using podcasting as the hub. It's something that you do that's front facing, but it leads people down a funnel of things that you do behind the scenes. So whether you have a Patreon or an exclusive podcast that lives on another platform, or a school community, or if you have, like I said, our merch on our website, plantopodcast.com. The podcast is what you do to meet and greet the people and meet the general public. And then it's an invitation like, hey, since we've met one another, I invite you to this other thing that I do so well that I think you would really like. Since you like what I do on the podcast and you like the things I talk about, since you like the fact that I talk a lot about podcasting, then maybe you're going to like this cup here that says Too Hot Podcast. Because out here in the podcast community, it's just too hot. It's just too hot for you not to actually try yourself. So join us in community. And again, building an entire media ecosystem where everything can branch off and do its own thing, or you can do it all together to build this big media brand. Whether that's merch, a merch can take its whole identity of itself. It can generate its own stream of revenue for you. Whether it is, like I said, the exclusive community, whether it is repurposing your content to create an ebook, a webinar, creating some amazing offers. It is my belief that it shouldn't just be the one thing, but it should be all of these things that compound on each other that you offer your community. And this is what it looks like to build a media ecosystem. Even if it's just you, with the help of AI, you're able to now create something big. Morgan DeBon, she created Blavity and other platforms, but it started with this small idea. It started with taking this idea and going to different investors, and now she's one of the biggest names in the media space, especially for Black media creators. You may not know her. Some of her work may precede her, some of her platforms, but she's paid, all right? And you might know a lot of her, like I said, work, her publications, her podcast, but not necessarily tie it to her. But she's one of those people that you should definitely know about. But she comes top of mind for me, listening to her story and how she started a media brand. A lot of women that are big now started with like a blog, and what you refuse to do today, somebody else is going to do. And that idea that you had, that you kept so close to your chest and waiting for the best opportune time that never came, now somebody has your idea. It's really easy with AI. There's no excuses anymore. Why you're not creating multiple streams of income, why you're not building out your own media ecosystem. And stop going to all of these bigger brands looking for a payout. It will come, but you have to create your own currency. You have to create your own opportunities within your own ecosystem first. And it's easy to do with AI. And that's when you start to garner more attention. When you pave your own way and create your own lane, that's when the big brands will start coming. It's not the other way around. Look at the people dominating culture right now. They're not just posting random content anymore. They have ecosystems, they have audiences, they have recurring formats, they have recognizable personalities, they have distribution pipelines. And the reason this matters is because media power is shifting away from traditional institutions and toward personalities. People don't just trust companies anymore. They trust people they watch constantly. They trust people they hear every week. They trust people who feel accessible. That's why podcasters are influencing elections. Streamers are launching products. Creators are selling out live events, and interview platforms are shaping culture. And now AI is accelerating the entire thing. One creator can research faster, edit faster, distribute faster, repurpose faster, meaning small creators can now move with media company speed. So the real opportunity right now It's not just starting a podcast. It's building a creator-led media ecosystem, a place where your audience can find you everywhere, your content works together, your voice becomes recognizable, and your platform becomes bigger than one app. Because the future doesn't belong to creators who only post content. It belongs to creators who build systems, ecosystems, and media brands. All right, that's it. Drop mic. That's all I got for you guys. That was a mouthful. Make sure you guys check the chat. We have some people on Twitch commenting. Let me check very quickly on Facebook. Say hello to the people who have commented. Make sure you share this with a friend. Let them know, hey, stop sleeping on podcasting. And don't even think of it as podcasting. Think of creating a media hub. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am your podcast bestie, Danny Marie. And I'm tuning out.
This is a man's world.
Hey,
But it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
hey. Started out riding, man with the geezers with this shit. Then one talk about the chick. All of them talks, my bad ass still ain't listen. Was living, but taught me the ways that they